The movie begins with Tom and Lucy rushing out of a pub. They've only recently become a couple and are on their way to a music festival in Ireland. But suddenly, Tom tells Lucy that the festival isn't actually starting today. Instead, he's planned a special treat for them. He's booked a hotel online. Lucy is a bit surprised because she already told her friends she was heading straight to the festival, but Tom explains that it's a romantic surprise for their 2-week anniversary. He shows her the printed hotel details from the glove box and assures her that the place is beautiful and peaceful. After a bit of hesitation, Lucy agrees. Tom has also arranged for a man to guide them to the hotel. As the man drives ahead in his car, Tom follows behind. On the way, Tom tells Lucy that while she was in the restroom at the pub, a guy bumped into him and spilled his drink. To calm the situation, Tom ended up buying drinks for the guy and his friends. At first, it all seems like a normal incident, and they continue driving through the quiet, empty roads, following the man. But suddenly, the guide stops his car. Without saying a word, he simply gestures for them to go straight ahead and then turns off in a different direction. Tom feels a bit confused but continues down the road as instructed. After driving a little further, they come across a large gate with a hotel sign nearby. A heavy iron chain is wrapped around the gate. Tom gets out of the car, removes the chain, and opens it. A slight smile appears on their faces as the atmosphere starts to feel a bit romantic. But just then they notice a group of young men passing by. Lucy becomes uneasy and quietly says that they might be the same people from the pub. And from that moment, the tone of their journey slowly begins to change. They continue driving toward the hotel on a deserted yet beautiful road. At first, everything seems completely normal, but after a while they reach a point where the road splits into two. The car's map shows one direction, while the signboard ahead points to a completely different path. At the same time, Lucy notices an abandoned cabin nearby. After thinking for a while, Tom decides to follow the signboards, and the two of them start moving ahead, keeping an eye out for hotel signs. But after a short time, something starts to feel off. Even though they change directions, the same trees, the same turns, and the same signs keep appearing over and over again. Panicking, Lacey says, "I think we're going in circles." But Tom still believes they're on the right path and getting closer to the hotel. Trying to understand what's going on, Lacey calls the hotel and tells them they have a reservation, but have gotten lost. On the other end, a man begins explaining the directions, but suddenly the call cuts off. She tries again, but this time the phone doesn't even ring. At that exact moment, their car's navigation system completely stops working. And after driving for a while, they somehow end up right back near the same cabin they had seen before. Now, both of them decide it's best to head back toward the pub. But even after wandering through different roads for a long time, they realize they can't find their way back to the main road either. Tom pulls over and steps out of the car to look for a path nearby. Meanwhile, Lacey is left alone inside the car, and suddenly she feels like someone outside has grabbed her hair. She jolts in fear. Just then, Tom returns, but his sudden appearance only scares her even more. Trying to calm her down, Tom takes her a little distance away from the car. But suddenly the car alarm starts blaring loudly. Tom rushes back to the car, only to realize that the keys are neither inside nor in his pocket. Now both of them panic, and just then they find the same keys lying on the ground. They quickly get into the car and speed away from there. Even Tom can't understand what just happened. As darkness slowly takes over, they drive for a while, only to end up once again at the same cabin. Now it becomes clear no matter which path they choose, they keep coming back to the same place, like they're trapped in a maze. Gathering her courage, Lacey approaches the cabin. At the door, she finds an emergency fire escape map showing a route from the forest to the main road. The cabin itself is completely empty inside. Now Tom decides to follow the route shown on the map, hoping to somehow make it back to the main road. But after driving for a while, the map leads them right back to another deserted location. Suddenly, a massive tree crashes down right in front of them. Lucy is completely terrified while Tom struggles to control the car. Frustrated and angry, he throws away the map he got from the cabin. Slowly, their fear keeps building. The night has now grown completely dark, and even stranger things begin to happen around them. As they drive along the road, Lucy starts to feel like she saw someone standing behind them. But when she looks back again, there's nothing there, just a scarecrow. Even she gets confused. But a few moments later, when Tom steps out of the car to use the bathroom, Lucy suddenly sees a man wearing a white mask standing right behind him in the darkness. Terrified, she screams, "Tom, there's someone behind you." Tom can't see anyone and gets irritated, thinking Lucy is overreacting for no reason. But Lucy keeps insisting that she really saw someone. Now a deeper suspicion starts growing in her mind that something strange must have happened to Tom back at the pub. Something he's hiding from her. Tom keeps denying it, saying nothing happened. But soon, something even more horrifying occurs. Out of nowhere, they see a bunch of clothes scattered all over the dark road. And when they take a closer look, they realize those clothes belong to Lucy. Panicking, Tom quickly gathers the clothes and throws them into the trunk of the car. But Lucy is completely frozen in shock because they had been inside the car the entire time. So how did her clothes get out there? And who spread them across the road? The thought alone sends chills down their spines. Terrified, they immediately left that place. But after wandering through the forest for so long, they're completely exhausted. It starts raining and finally Tom stops the car. At that moment when Lucy steps out of the car for a brief second, the same masked man suddenly appears from the darkness and tries to grab her. Lucy screams in horror. Tom rushes toward her, and somehow they manage to escape and get back into the car. Now their fear has reached its peak. In panic, Tom starts driving faster, desperate to get away from that place as quickly as possible. But then suddenly he hits a man standing right in the middle of the road. Both of them are left completely shaken. Tom gathers his courage and steps out of the car. But there's no one there, like the man just vanished into thin air. And then out of nowhere, that same man suddenly appears inside their car. His face is completely covered in blood. In a panicked voice, he says that he was attacked by some people, and they're still somewhere in this forest. As soon as Lacey hears this, she freaks out. She starts to think those same people might be following them too. She immediately tells Tom, "We need to get out of here right now." Tom listens, starts the car, and the three of them drive deeper into the dark forest. The stranger introduces himself as Max and says there's a place nearby called Connie House. Hearing this, Tom and Lacey are shocked because that's their hotel. But Max quickly tells them they've come to the wrong place. He explains that the signs around here are changed to mislead people, so they get lost and never find their way out. Now they start following the directions Max gives them, but somehow they keep ending up at the same spot over and over again. Max then says the same people who attacked him have changed all the signs in the area. Slowly, Max begins connecting everything to an incident that happened with Tom at a pub. Confused, Lacey asks, "What exactly happened at the pub?" But Tom keeps avoiding the question. Then Max cuts in and says, "You provoked them, that's why they might be coming after you." Hearing this, Lacey is shocked. Tom quickly defends himself, saying nothing really happened. And in frustration, he steps out of the car. Now that Tom is gone, Max tells Lacey the truth in private. He says Tom spilled a man's drink and then showed him attitude afterward. From the way Max talks, it's clear he's trying to create a rift between Tom and Lacey. But even then, Lacey doesn't fully trust him deep down. She still believes in Tom. Gradually, both of them begin to realize the real culprit isn't someone else. It's Max himself. He's the one who changed the signs and has been leading them in circles, trapping them in this terrifying maze. Suddenly, Max reveals his true nature. He turns aggressive, presses a knife against the back of Lacey's head, and screams at Tom, "Drive as fast as you can." Tom starts to panic. Lucy breaks down in tears, terrified, but Max yells at him to drive faster. Tom pushes the speed up. Because of the rain, the darkness, and the slippery road, the car begins to lose control. Still, Max keeps pressuring him. "You've got a choice. Crash or watch Lucy die." Tom feels completely helpless and finally slams the car to a stop. Suddenly, Max says, "Now let's play a game." He looks at Lucy and tells her to decide which one of them should die. Lucy is shattered, but Max starts counting down. Crying, she begs him to stop. Tom also screams at Max, but he doesn't stop. As the countdown ends, Lucy, completely helpless, takes Tom's name. And then Max suddenly bursts out laughing. He says, "I don't even have a knife. It was all just a game." Lucy is left in shock. Tom, furious, loses control and immediately attacks Max, dragging him out of the car. A brutal fight breaks out between them. Tom tries everything to kill him, but Max is far more experienced. He easily overpowers Tom and with one heavy strike breaks his wrist before walking away on foot, leaving Tom writhing in pain on the ground. Lucy somehow manages to get the injured Tom back into the car and speeds away without wasting a second. But after driving only a short distance, the car suddenly runs out of fuel and stops right in the middle of the road. By now, Tom is in terrible condition, barely conscious. At that moment, Max suddenly shows up behind them in his Land Rover. With no other option left, Lucy grabs Tom and runs into the forest. Using their flashlights, they try to hide in the darkness, but the darkness doesn't help them. Suddenly, Max catches Tom in the dark, and within seconds, he disappears right in front of Lucy's eyes. Lucy is left completely alone, terrified. Somehow, she runs back to the car. And then, suddenly she notices a petrol can sitting on the front seat, something that wasn't there before. Now it's clear Max is still nearby, and his game isn't over yet. Without wasting a second, Lucy pours in the fuel and starts the car. The strange thing this time is even the car's map suddenly starts working on its own. It keeps moving forward without stopping, and eventually reaches that hotel. But the moment she gets there, all her hope shatters. The entire hotel looks abandoned, like a decaying ruin. There's complete silence everywhere, and in the parking lot, several broken, rusted cars are just sitting there. Seeing this, Lucy realizes something terrifying. She and Tom are not the first victims of this place. This is a trap, a place where people come, but never make it back. Suddenly Max shows up again in his Land Rover. Panicking, Lucy immediately turns the car around and tries to escape. Max starts chasing her, playing with her, terrifying her like this is all just a game to him. And then just as suddenly, he drives ahead and disappears. Moments later, Lucy feels something strange. She notices a pipe connected to the car's exhaust, leading directly into the trunk. With trembling hands, she opens it and finds Tom inside tied up. He's already dead, carbon monoxide poisoning, because Max had forced that pipe into his mouth. Lucy completely breaks down. She cries uncontrollably for a long time, but somehow she pulls herself together and starts driving again. Slowly, the night begins to fade. And by morning, Lucy finally reaches the main road. But as she drives through that deserted stretch, she sees Max standing far ahead on the road. He smiles and spreads his arms, inviting her to come toward him, as if the game isn't over yet. But this time, there's no fear in Lucy's eyes, only anger and the pain of losing Tom. Without thinking, she slams the accelerator. The car speeds straight toward Max, and just as it's about to hit him, the screen suddenly cuts to black. Is Max's game finally over, or is it still going? With that suspense, the story comes to an end. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section. Also, subscribe to this channel for more stories like this.